This is the Scope Buddy Endoscope Flushing Aid by Medivators, a Mintech Corporation business group. Medivators provides workflow solutions in endoscopy from bedside through reprocessing. Your Medivators sales consultant, clinical support specialist, or field service engineer may be contacted by calling 1-800-444-4729 or by visiting our website at www.mintech.com/Medivators. Medivators professionals are available to provide in-service and training on all Medivators products. This in-service video supplements, but does not replace, the information provided in the Scope Buddy user manual which you received with your Scope Buddy unit. The program is divided into 12 sections for easy review. Section 1, Introduction to Scope Buddy. Section 2, Overview of Scope Buddy. Section 3, Parts Checklist. This section will familiarize you with the components that come with the unit. Section 4, Installation. Reviews the options for installation of Scope Buddy. Section 5, Daily Startup. Demonstrates the quality assurance required at the daily startup. Section 6, Endoscope Preparation. Demonstrates the preparation of the scope prior to using Scope Buddy. Section 7, Connecting Endoscopes for DSD Users. Demonstrates how to connect the endoscope to Scope Buddy for users with a Medivators DSD endoscope reprocessor. Section 8, Connecting Endoscopes. Demonstrates how to connect the endoscope to Scope Buddy using the endoscope's channel irrigator. Section 9, Operation. This section demonstrates the use of the settings and starting of Scope Buddy. Section 10, Connecting to Savory Dilators. How to connect Savory Dilators to Scope Buddy for flushing. Section 11, Decontamination. Illustrates how to set up and perform decontamination of Scope Buddy. Section 12, Maintenance and Questions. Reviews who to call for your Scope Buddy needs. Scope Buddy is an endoscope flushing aid designed to facilitate the flushing of detergent and rinse water through the internal channels of flexible and immersible endoscopes. This device is to be used during the manual pre-cleaning phase of endoscope reprocessing. Scope Buddy is designed to meet customer needs by providing the following benefits. Enhanced worker safety. Reduces the risk of repetitive motion injuries with hands-free channel flushing. Reduced endoscope turnaround time. Shortens pre-cleaning time through automation and the ability to flush the elevated wire channel of Olympus and Pentax scopes along with the other channels. Compliance by standardizing pre-cleaning protocols. Scope Buddy, along with Intercept detergent and Intercept wipes, provides superior removal of biological and organic soils by effectively penetrating bacterial biofilms found on endoscopes. Do not use alcohol-based products in or on Scope Buddy. Alcohol is not compatible and should never be used to clean, flush, or rinse Scope Buddy. The system components that are supplied include Scope Buddy base unit, wall mount bracket, power supply, fluid intake line, DSD extension line, universal cleaning adapter extension line, universal cleaning two-way adapter, universal cleaning three-way adapter, universal cleaning four-way adapter, flow verification tube, elevator wire channel hookup, Scope Buddy user manual, Scope Buddy quick start guide and rinse matrix, Scope Buddy in-service documents. Scope Buddy is a flushing aid that could be used with nearly every type of flexible and immersible endoscope. Because Scope Buddy is designed to function with a wide variety of endoscopes of various configurations, it is supplied with a number of tubing connections. We will now review the different tubing connections and configurations. Fluid intake line. This tubing snaps into the in port on the Scope Buddy unit and allows fluid to be drawn up from the sink or container into the Scope Buddy. DSD extension line. This extension line is used by facilities with Medivators DSD reprocessors. The DSD extension line snaps into the out port on the Scope Buddy unit and allows connection to a Medivator's DSD hookup, which attaches to the endoscope. Fluid will be delivered through this tubing to the DSD hookup. Universal Cleaning Adapter extension line. This extension line is used by facilities without a Medivator's DSD endoscope reprocessor. This extension line snaps into the out port on the Scope Buddy unit and, in conjunction with the multi-way adapters, allows connection to the endoscope's channel irrigation adapter supplied by the endoscope manufacturer. Universal Cleaning 2-way, 3-way, or 4-way adapters. These multi-way cleaning adapters will connect to an endoscope's channel irrigation tubing. Selection of whether to use a 2, 3, or 4-way adapter depends on how many connection ports will need to be reprocessed. Flow verification tube. This tubing segment, attached to the Universal Cleaning Adapter extension line, is used during the daily quality assurance test to ensure Scope Buddy is delivering the proper amount of fluid. Elevator wire channel hookup. This hookup snaps directly into the out port on the Scope Buddy unit and allows flushing of the elevator wire channel of a Fujinon duodenoscope or a Fujinon endoscope's forward water jet. For Olympus and Pentax endoscopes, the elevator wire channel and forward water jet can be flushed simultaneously with all other channels and does not need to be flushed independently using this elevator wire channel hookup. A more in-depth demonstration of the tubing connections and configurations will be presented later. The Scope Buddy unit has the following components. Time display shows the timer setting when idle or displays time remaining when pumping. Time set used to increase or decrease the timer setting. Stop-start button used to stop, start, or pause the timer countdown and the pumping action. Fluid inlet. The in port is where fluid is drawn into the unit. Fluid outlet. The out port where fluid is discharged from the unit. Power on-off switch. It is located on the right side of the unit and is used to turn the device on or off. Power connection. This is the connection port from the power supply to the base unit and is located on the right side of the unit. Scope Buddy must only be used with a power supply wall transformer supplied with the device. Do not attempt to substitute or use a non-approved replacement power supply. Scope Buddy should be plugged into a 110-volt electrical wall outlet that includes an approved ground fault interrupter prior to operation of the pump. The tubing hookups, hookup extensions, and fluid intake line are not autoclavable and must be reprocessed by low-temperature disinfection only. Scope Buddy is designed to be placed on a countertop or mounted to the wall by using the supplied wall mounting bracket. If mounting to a wall, ensure that the bracket is properly secured to the wall using the correct mounting hardware, adequate to support at least 10 pounds. Scope Buddy must be located within a vertical height no greater than 3 feet above the fluid basin. The distance between the sink or basin of solution and Scope Buddy must not exceed 3 feet. To verify the Scope Buddy device is operating properly and delivering the correct amount of fluid, a flow validation test should be conducted daily. This validation test is easy to perform and quickly determines if the device is delivering the correct amount of fluid. It is important that a quality assurance test is done and documented each day before using Scope Buddy on an endoscope. Performing the Scope Buddy flow validation test. Turn unit on by pressing the power switch. Snap the connector of the fluid intake line to the connection port labeled in and fully submerge the screened end in a sink or basin of clean water. Snap the connector of the Universal Cleaning Adapter extension line to the connection port labeled out. Attach the plastic lure lock of the flow verification tube to the remaining end of the Universal Cleaning Adapter extension line. Place the open end of the flow verification tube into the sink. In order to perform the daily quality assurance test, the tubing will need to be primed with water. Priming can be accomplished by using the Scope Buddy front panel arrow keys, set the time until it displays 1 minute. Press the Start-Stop button to begin delivering fluid. Watch until all air has been purged through the device and a steady column of water is exiting the flow verification tube. Press Start-Stop button to halt flow. To perform the flow verification test, place the open end of the pre-primed flow verification tube into a graduated cylinder or beaker of at least 200 milliliters volume. Using the Scope Buddy front panel arrow keys, set the time display to 10 seconds. Press the Start-Stop button to begin the test. Water will be drawn up from the sink or basin, pumped through the device and into the cylinder or beaker. When the timer counts down to 0, remove the flow verification tube from the graduated cylinder or beaker. Read the volume of fluid dispensed into the container. The volume should be at least 100 milliliters. If the dispensed volume is above 100 milliliters, then Scope Buddy is ready to be used throughout the day. Record a pass result on the Scope Buddy quality assurance log. If the dispensed volume is below 100 milliliters, do not use Scope Buddy and contact Medivators at 1-800-444-4729. Insufficient flow volumes can result in endoscopes which are not adequately flushed with the required amount of detergent or rinse water. Record a fail result on the Scope Buddy quality assurance log. Proper endoscope pre-cleaning is essential to removing microbial burden and biodebris from the inside and outside of an endoscope. Pre-cleaning guidelines should always be consulted and followed, and a pre-cleaning process should always be developed and strictly adhered to assure an endoscope is effectively and properly pre-cleaned. Scope Buddy flushing aid is used during the flushing phase of the pre-cleaning process after brushing the internal channels. Always follow the endoscope manufacturer's instructions and establish professional guidelines to properly pre-clean an endoscope. This section is for current users of a Medivators DSD endoscope reprocessor. If you do not have a Medivators DSD endoscope reprocessor, follow the step-by-step procedure in Section 8, connecting endoscope to Scope Buddy for non-DSD users using the endoscope's channel irrigation adapter. This section will be covered for Olympus, Pentax, and Fuji endoscopes. Plug the unit in and turn the device on by pressing the power switch. Snap the connector of the fluid intake line to the connection port labeled in and fully submerge the screened end in a sink or clean supply container of detergent solution. Snap the connector of the DSD extension line to the connection port labeled out. Attach the remaining end to the appropriate DSD hookup for the endoscope being cleaned. Attach the DSD hookup to the endoscope, referencing the hookup instructions if needed. For Olympus scopes, the auxiliary water channel and elevator wire channel of an Olympus endoscope do not require the use of the elevator wire channel hookup and can be flushed simultaneously with the other channels using the DSD hookup. For Pentax scopes, the forward water jet or elevator wire channel of a Pentax endoscopes do not require the use of the elevator wire channel hookup and can be flushed simultaneously with the other channels using the appropriate DSD hookup. For Fujinon endoscopes, all channels of a Fujinon endoscope can be flushed simultaneously using the appropriate DSD hookup with the exception of the forward water jet channel or the elevator wire channel of a duodenoscope. A Fujinon endoscope's forward water jet channel or elevator wire channel of a Fujinon duodenoscope must be flushed separately from the other channels using the elevator wire channel hookup. First, use the appropriate DSD hookup attached to the Fujinon cleaning adapter to flush all other channels. Then the DSD extension line is removed and the elevator wire channel hookup should be snapped into the port labeled out. The other end has a metal port that remains open and the lure lock connector attaches to the endoscope's forward water jet or elevator wire channel. Reference the Scope Buddy rinse matrix to set Scope Buddy to the required time to flush the elevator wire channel of a Fujinon duodenoscope or the forward water jet channel of a Fujinon endoscope. If you do not use a Medivator's DSD endoscope reprocessor, use this section's step-by-step procedure on how to properly attach Scope Buddy to an endoscope using the endoscope manufacturer's channel cleaning or irrigation adapter. This section will be covered for Olympus, Pentax, and Fuji endoscopes. Plug the unit in and turn the device on by pressing the power switch. Snap the connector of the fluid intake line to the connection port labeled in and fully submerge the screened end in a sink or clean supply container of detergent solution. Snap the connector of the universal cleaning adapter extension line to the connection port labeled out. Select the appropriate Scope Buddy universal cleaning adapter, 2-way, 3-way, or 4-way, for the endoscope being cleaned and attach it to the universal cleaning adapter extension line. Attach the ends of the selected universal cleaning adapter to the endoscope manufacturer's channel cleaning adapter and, if applicable, to the flushing tube for the auxiliary water inlet, forward water jet, or elevator wire channel. Examples of how to select the appropriate Scope Buddy universal cleaning adapter will be demonstrated. For Olympus scopes. For Olympus gastroscopes, you would select the universal cleaning 2-way adapter, which would attach to the scope's channel irrigation tube. For Olympus colonoscopes with an auxiliary water channel, you would choose the universal cleaning 3-way adapter. Two ends of the 3-way adapter would attach to the scope's channel irrigation tube, and the third end would attach to the auxiliary water channel's flushing tube. The elevator wire channel of an Olympus duodenoscope does not require the use of the elevator wire channel hookup and can be flushed simultaneously with the other channels using the 3-way adapter attached to the Olympus channel irrigation tube and the elevator wire channel flushing tube. For Pentax endoscopes. To flush a Pentax gastroscope or colonoscope with a forward water jet, use the 3-way adapter and connect one end to the suction port. For Pentax 70 series scopes, the Pentax suction nipple adapter OE-C8 needs to be used on the suction channel. For Pentax 30 series scopes, the adapter connects right to the suction port. The second end of the 3-way adapter connects to the Pentax air water knob OF-G17. And the third end connects to the Pentax forward water jet flushing tube OF-B113. Note, the check valve adapter must be removed from the forward water jet. The Pentax air-water rubber cleaning adapter needs to be covering the air and water openings. A biopsy valve needs to be on the biopsy port. For Fujinon endoscopes. To flush a Fujinon 530 series gastroscope or colonoscope, attach the Fujinon cleaning adapter to the endoscope. For endoscopes without a forward water jet or an elevator wire channel, select the Scope Buddy universal 4-way adapter and connect to the Fujinon cleaning adapter. For Fujinon endoscopes with a forward water jet, the forward water jet channel must be flushed separately from the other channels using the elevator wire channel hookup. Also, for Fujinon duodenoscopes, the elevator wire channel must be flushed separately from the other channels using the elevator wire channel hookup. First, flush all other channels using the Fujinon cleaning adapter attached to the appropriate universal cleaning adapter. Then, remove the universal cleaning adapter extension line and snap the elevator wire channel hookups into the port labeled out. The other end has a metal port that remains open, and the lure lock connector attaches to the endoscope's forward water jet or elevator wire channel, depending on which channel is being flushed. Reference the Scope Buddy rinse matrix to set Scope Buddy to the required time to flush the elevator wire channel of a Fujinon duodenoscope or the forward water jet channel of a Fujinon endoscope. The endoscope should now be hooked up to Scope Buddy with the appropriate tubing with the fluid intake line in the detergent. Use the following steps to begin operation of Scope Buddy. Flushing an endoscope with detergent. Using the Scope Buddy front panel arrow keys, set the time until it displays the desired flushing time. Programming times for types of endoscopes are located in the Scope Buddy user manual or on the appropriate Scope Buddy rinse matrix. Press the Start-Stop button to begin the cycle. The timer display will now begin counting down. Detergent solution will now be drawn up from the sink or clean supply container, pumped through Scope Buddy, and will flow out the endoscope distal tip. Verify solution is exiting all channels of the endoscope distal tip. If fluid fails to come out all channels, then a channel may be blocked and the endoscope may need to be manually brushed and cleaned again. The flushing process will then need to be repeated until flow through the endoscope is verified or the endoscope should be taken out of service. After the timer counts down to 0, fluid flow will stop and an audible tone will be heard. To purge an endoscope of detergent, remove the fluid intake line out of the detergent solution and place on the counter. Press the Start-Stop button once to reset the timer to the original preset time amount. Press the Start-Stop button again to begin pumping air in order to purge the endoscope of the detergent solution. Press Start-Stop button to halt pumping when fluid no longer exits the endoscope. To rinse an endoscope with water, fully submerge the screened end of the fluid intake tube into the sink or clean supply container of rinse water. Press either the arrow up or arrow down button once to reset the timer to the original preset time amount. Press the Start-Stop button to begin the cycle. The timer display will now begin counting down. Rinse water will now be drawn up from the sink or clean supply container, pumped through Scope Buddy, and will flow out the endoscope distal tip. After the timer counts down to 0, fluid flow will stop and an audible tone will be heard. To purge an endoscope of rinse water, remove the fluid intake line out of the rinse water. Press the Start-Stop button once to reset the timer to the original preset time amount. Press the Start-Stop button again to begin pumping air in order to purge the endoscope of rinse water. Press Start-Stop button to halt pumping when fluid no longer exits the endoscope. Upon successful completion of these steps, and if the endoscope does not have a Fujinon elevator wire channel or Fujinon forward water jet, the endoscope is now ready to be placed in an automated endoscope reprocessor or can be manually reprocessed for high-level disinfection. Remember, never use alcohol in Scope Buddy. Scope Buddy can also be used to flush savory dilators. Plug the unit in and turn the device on by pressing the power switch. Snap the connector of the fluid intake line to the connection port labeled in and fully submerge the screened end in a sink or basin of detergent solution. Snap the connector of the universal cleaning adapter extension line to the connection port labeled out. Attach the manufacturer-supplied flushing adapter to the universal cleaning adapter extension line. push the dilator onto the end of the flushing adapter. Refer to the Scope Buddy rinse matrix to obtain the required flushing time, set the timer on Scope Buddy, and flush dilators according to Section 9, Operation Instructions. The Scope Buddy endoscope flushing aid delivers detergent and rinse water through the channels of contaminated flexible and immersible endoscopes. As a result, Scope Buddy and its associated connection tubing must be decontaminated. Scope Buddy decontamination frequency depends upon the method used to draw cleaning and flushing solutions into Scope Buddy. If solutions are drawn from a sink and recirculated, then Scope Buddy must be decontaminated on a daily basis. If solutions are drawn from a clean and dedicated supply container, then Scope Buddy can be decontaminated monthly. The decontamination procedure is simple to set up and perform, and although it can be run at any time, it is recommended that it be carried out at the end of a workday. Therefore, the device should always be powered on and all tubing attached. Place the screened end of the fluid intake line into a basin of decontamination solution, ensuring it is deeply submerged. Also place the open end of the outflow tubing into the basin of decontamination solution. Using the front panel arrow keys, set the timer until it displays 2 minutes. Press the Start-Stop button to begin fluid delivery. Verify a steady column solution is now exiting the outflow tubing. Press Start-Stop button to halt fluid flow. Referencing the decontamination manufacturer's labeling, allow the solution to remain within the device and all connection tubing until the specified decontamination time has elapsed. The system decontamination procedure is now complete and can be documented on the Scope Buddy Quality Assurance form. If the unit is to be left unused, such as overnight or over the weekend or holiday period, it should be left full of decontamination fluid or clean rinse water. This maintains pump head decontamination, provides lubrication, and facilitates priming. During this period, do not purge or rinse any fluid from Scope Buddy. However, the tubing can be detached from the unit during this period, rinsed, and hung to air dry. Prior to use, after this decontamination procedure, the decontamination solution should be flushed from Scope Buddy using rinse water. Scope Buddy is designed to provide maintenance-free operation and long-term use. Following the daily routine of performing the flow validation quality test and the decontamination procedure will verify system functionality to manufacturer's recommendations and specifications. Scope Buddy contains no user-serviceable internal parts or components. Routine inspection of all tubing sets is required. Never use tubing which is questionable or suspect. Only use tubing sets which have been visually inspected and verified to be good. Do not use alcohol-based products in or on Scope Buddy. Alcohol is not compatible and should never be used to clean, flush, or rinse Scope Buddy. Your Medivator sales consultant, clinical support specialist, or field service engineer may be contacted by calling 1-800-444-4729 or by visiting our website at www.mintech.com/Medivators. Medivators professionals are available to provide in-service and training on all Medivators products. Medivators, endoscope reprocessing the way it should be.